Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about the importance of telling one own story. In my case, to tell my own story, it was the key also to get be published. I have to tell you a little bit about my own story to start with. So I grew up in Brazil, and in Brazil or at that time, this was Cold War, so we were on the American side, and most of the entertainment that we were consuming was coming from America, or coming from the US. So I think I would say like 90% of what we were consuming at that time. So this was like from animations like Thundercats, He-Man, and comic books for sure. That's what I really loved. And this was Spider-Man, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Batman, Superman, and so on. So this was what actually fascinated me, what actually inspired me to produce my comics book at that time. And it wasn't by coincidence that most of my comic books, they were set in the US. They were set in the United States. So it was really interesting when I had later on in my life. I got married to my wife, and she's from Europe. So I moved to Europe. What helped me moving out or going out of Brazil? It was to look at my own culture. So I was seeing also and getting to know people who had a completely different vision, from my country, and from me as well. So this was an interesting journey of self-discovery. So it was very important for me to go out of my country, to understand different perspectives, and also to see the good points that are recognized by other cultures as well. So I would say that every country and every person is like a brand, and brands, they have different brand points. So these are the brand points where you can understand that these are the points that connect you to that brand. So for example, just to give an example, the US, they understand Brazil much more as Latin America. So the vision perhaps of Brazil is much more connected to Mexico. And I would say in Europe, people, as they like a lot the carnival and the football, because it's not so much popular in the US. It's called soccer. And so in Europe, people understand Brazil much more connected to football players and samba and carnival. So it's much more kind of party. So all these countries and all the different countries, they have different points of view and different understandings about one's country. So this was also very interesting for me to look at it and see how I can use my own identity as also Brazilian to tell a story. So I did go in the Himalayas. There is a lot to do with what I like as well, because I'm pretty much connected to the Indian culture, Indian mythology. So this is something that's a strong part of me. I do yoga as well. So the Himalayas, I have been to the Himalayas, so I pretty much connected to that part of the world. But in my second graphic novel, I decided to tell a story about the roots of the American countries, the roots of the Americas. I remember when I told my editor, I mentioned I want to tell a story and also mention the slavery in the Americas. And I remember that my editor, he said, I'm not sure you are the right person to tell the story. But when I told him that I have indigenous, I have European, and I have also African blood, he said, okay, so it's really kind of a story that connects all my ancestries and really bring a new perspective, because most of the time the story of the New World, the story of the discovery of the Americas was always told by people with European background. I have seen that not many people decided to tell stories in those times, because it was full of controversy and people still feel that justice wasn't made. Because the indigenous societies, they were so important, and we don't give kind of so much value in the Americas in general. And if we have followed their advice, and if we would have absorbed more their culture, the culture of taking care of the Mother Earth, I'm sure we wouldn't have these problems of climate change nowadays. On the other hand, we also have racism that's a big problem, and perhaps it can manifest in a friction in society, divisions, and perhaps even in violence. And it's something that was also not worked out in most American countries. And this is something that the book wants to bring up as well, because I think we have to find the roots. So we didn't really work out the problems of slavery. We didn't face it. Also, we didn't face, I think, the problems of the treatment given to the indigenous societies. And I'm sure that we have to understand it. We have to face it so that we can have a better future. I had to have all this journey, perhaps living in the Americas, to look from Europe from a completely different perspective and to see, hey, these are the stories perhaps that were never told, and this is a story that's directly connected to myself. And I can see how important it is because it caused also a lot of impact. I got a lot of interest from publishers, from journalists in the story. So I think it's something that we want as a society, basically, to work out these issues and to give voice to different backgrounds and to different groups as well. You can read New World, be published in August this year, and you can already pre-order the book. It is completely original idea, and I'm sure you love it. So you can pre-order in the link below. And if you like this video, press the link button and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.